Don't let your light go out. Leviticus 6, 9 through 13. Interesting story on this quote. I wanted this image specifically for this video. And of course, it was copyrighted by a church group, actually, and it was $5. And I was going to sit there and like just steal it essentially and cut off the name on the bottom. And for two reasons, I did it. One, practical. I don't want a copyright issue down the line, even though it's unlikely. But secondly, more importantly, there's a Hindu saying of there's no action too small to analyze when it comes to karma, it comes to this sort of stuff, these little actions that you don't live you don't live the moral code you propose out to the world, that you reflect out into the world. You're a faker, right? And I felt it was like the universe giving me a little test, like, are you really who you say you are? It's $5. you know are you really just going to be that cheap and screw out a church group over $5 where it's morally wrong on so many levels? But it did cross my mind. I was thinking maybe I won't pay just because I didn't feel like paying. And I didn't want to not pay too, because I just want the karma hanging over me. I didn't want the thought that I did wrong hanging over me. I notice a lot of religions and faiths have very similar sayings. It's, the whole idea that it's all different paths to the same top of the mountain, to the same summit. I think Gandhi said it's all faiths are like branches of the same tree. And I'll take it a step further. I think atheism is the branch in the shade that might be a little withered, but still part of the tree. Like this Leviticus quote says the same thing. And I think Peter Coyote does the best rendition. This is from his 101 Zen story. It goes like this. A student of Tendai philosophical school of Buddhism came to the Zen abode of a Gasan as a pupil. When he was departing a few years later, Gasan warned him studying the truth speculatively is useful as a way of collecting preaching material. But remember that unless you meditate constantly, your light of truth may go out. And just like what happened to me today, I'm always afraid to burn out that light. It's like squeezing the top of the candle out to turn it off, where it's going to take a lot more work to relight it. And I kind of view this even worse. It's like you're in a dark forest with your last candle and you don't have a match, and you have a lot of wax to burn through. But if you burn that candle out, you might never find your way home. And that's kind of how I always took these two quotes, is that if you get off the path too far, you might not make it back. It's just like the bad habits start growing. It's a snowball effect with that, because this is something that I'm always afraid of too, where it's even that $5 thing, where it was like, I'm start maybe putting that light out. You don't know what action you're going to take that's going to get you off the path. Because I kind of feel like once you start compromising a little thing, the big things start getting compromised. I remember I had a military coworker one time, and he was talking about how in the military he had to count the number of pencils in the desk drawer. They had to like track that for inventory, even though it was like, they could print money. And I always thought that was insane. Like, who cares how many pencils are in inventory? But I kind of get that now, where it's like you start slacking on the little things. You start slacking on the pencils. Maybe you stop having enough bombs on the bomber or something, and then a guy dies because he wasn't able to complete the mission or something. So I kind of get it. Start small. For me, it was $5 today. It was an existential crisis over $5. But it was funny. I I made the decision to talk about this Zen koan before I had the existential crisis. I was looking for, I literally typed into Google, like, don't let your light go out. And this image that you see on the screen is what came up. So it was like funny that I was getting taught the lesson by the universe in the moment that, oh, so you're gonna go preach on this, like the koan said, that you're gonna collecting preaching material, but remember that unless you meditate constantly, your light of truth may go out. And that's the thing. I feel like you can't go to church or whatever on Sunday, wherever you go, and then yell at yell at somebody and get road rage in the parking lot. And I've seen that when I was a child going to church with my parents, or even how my parents would sometimes act, where it was like, we're going to this holy place, but yet the moment everyone's out of church, everyone's back to their normal jerk offness. So it was like, kind of, I think that always stuck with me, those sort of moments where it's like you got to practice what you preach, the old saying. And it really is true because even to yourself, it's a self-respect, it's keeping those promises to yourself. But I just thought it was interesting that while I'm literally planning to talk about this, I'm getting put into an existential crisis over $5. And even funnier was that I was like, well, I don't want to pay $5. Let me, check with the different websites if there was something free that was similar. And then I started going to Chat GPT. Can I make something similar? I was trying everything but doing the right thing. And then finally it was like, am I really gonna like do the wrong thing and have this hanging over me, all this time? And also, I just thought the image was beautiful, exactly what I envisioned in my mind, and it had the gospel quote, which I'd forgotten about. So it was like, I kind of felt like I was meant to put this one up, and it was beautiful to me, just how it all looked. I'm like, let me just do it, and let me live up to myself. And I don't like these little karmas. I had one recently. I was at a cigar shop, and I I asked the guy if he had a certain cigar in stock, and he said no, but he would order for me, and I said thank you. And then he actually got the order in. I didn't think he'd remember. And then the problem was, now it's like I didn't really want him all that much anymore, and I found it for like a third the price online, but it was the same situation as today. I'm like, damn it, I gotta go overpay for this thing just because it's like the right thing to do. And he also communicated with me about a different order. So it was like I didn't want to be a jerk to him unnecessarily. It's like not living up to, I want that karma with this random cigar shop that I feel guilty now. So I went in there and I bought the cigars that I didn't need just because I didn't want to have to live with that small thing because I sleep like a log. And these two sayings remind me of this. The Leviticus, don't let your light go out, same thing. It's, you just you don't want to start spritzing water on that candle flame. I feel like you don't, obviously, if you put a whole bucket of water on, it's going to go out. You do some really bad thing, but those little spritzes of water, those little moments, you're blowing too hard on the candle, you put all these little things in, it might add up, and then you got to start the whole process all over again. And I came up with this thing myself. It's like I don't take a step backward. I always move forward. Even if it's incremental like a tortoise, it's always a step forward. I'm never taking it's like a fighter in the UFC. Start backing up before you know it, the other guy's beating you up. And I kind of take that same approach I got from the fighters, where the forward motion, the pressure, it's like the same in your spiritual practice. You can't compromise. You can't take a step back. That came to me, I think last year before. I'm like, yeah, I have a rule now. I don't step backwards in my path. Like I don't compromise no matter how hard things get, whether I'm losing money or time or health. I don't want to have to look at myself in the mirror and not be proud of what I'm looking back at. Because for many years, I had that feeling looking in the mirror. And then I had the change for me when I was looking in the mirror and I was proud of myself. And I looked in the mirror and I saw my own eyes and I saw that I had like a wisdom and a deepness, a vastness of deep ocean and kind of like a laughing Buddha inside myself. I saw, the eyes are the windows of the soul, they say. And at that moment, I saw myself. I know I'd done a lot of work at that point. I knew I'd made it in that moment. And that's when I really dug into this, don't let your light go out. I even had a lantern in my front room as a reminder for many years. Now that lantern's in the bathroom in case the power goes out, because I know I don't let my light go out now. But even still, I still have a reminder on my phone. I have a candle as a screen on my phone as kind of just a visual every day. Like don't get too high and mighty because the pride comes before the fall. But I used to have multiple reminders of the light not going out. So that you don't want to put yourself in a position where um, you're headed down the wrong path and it's too late to change. You've turned into something you didn't want to turn into at the end of your life, and you look back over the years, over decades or more, and you see that you behaved badly and you're sorry for it. Like my attitude, I don't like to say sorry. I like to show through my actions. Obviously you're going to say sorry, but these little moments often are more important than the big moments. I kind of find most good people that are trying to do right generally won't mess up in the big moments. They're gonna do the right thing. They're gonna stop when they see someone dying on the side of the road and help them. Most people are gonna do things right, but these little moments, and then these little moments can make you kind of get numb to doing the right thing. And then when the moment happens, maybe you won't. Maybe you see someone dying on the street and you don't call 911. You just keep driving. So it's kind of one of those things where I kind of feel like with the spiritual path, whatever kind you're on, or even just, for many years, I didn't have any sort of spiritual path or just trying to be a good person that had integrity, did what they said, kind of thing. And I kind of feel like any human being, I feel like there's a weight. It's like put everything you're doing wrong, that karmic weight on your back. You're kind of carrying these wrongs and you run into someone and you did them wrong and then you feel guilty. Kind of part of the reason I did the whole thing with the cigars, where it was like I didn't want to ever walk into that shop and feel guilty and feel ashamed of myself. So I kind of feel like this quote is super important. And for me, it's like a foundational quote. And that's kind of how I'm doing my channel. I'm trying to, for myself and for others, just document these really foundational quotes and ideas because these ones have like burned up. I've been like a log on my spiritual fire for many years. These certain quotes that really struck a chord with me.